Hi and welcome to a new Bible lesson. In this Bible lesson, we're going to learn about Jacob and his life in Padan-aram and when he meets Rachel and many other things. So Jacob had been traveling and he comes to the people of the east, the Bible says. And he saw a well in the middle of the field and 3 flocks of sheep by it. And then he comes to the shepherds of those flocks and asks, "Where are you from?" And they are like, "We're from Haran." I mean, that's amazing. Yeah, Jacob didn't even have GPS, not very likely even a map. But God was with Jacob, and he was led by God. Remember how many years earlier, Abraham's servant took the same trip to find a wife for Isaac? He declares, "I being in the way, the Lord led me," which means when I was going to the place, the Lord took me there, and he took me to the perfect place. So, then Jacob asked them if they knew Laban, and they answered, "Well, we know him." And thus Jacob asked, "Is he well?" Then they said, "He is well, and his daughter Rachel is coming right now with the sheep." "Hey," said Jacob, "go feed the cattle and give them water. It's too early to gather the cattle." But they said they couldn't since they were waiting for everybody to come together to open the well since it was closed. Supposedly because the stone was too heavy to do it then and they needed more men. Well, we don't know how many men there were, but it could have been 1 shepherd per flock, so that would be 3 men. And in Genesis 29 verse 9, it says, "And while he yet spake with them, Rachel came with her father's sheep, for she kept them." When Jacob saw Rachel, he went near and rolled the stone from the well. And then Jacob by himself did what those 3 men couldn't do. Either he was very strong or those guys were kind of lazy. Jacob gave Rachel's sheep some water to drink and then came near her and kissed her. He told her that he was the son of Rebekah, Laban's sister. So then, that was shocking for Rachel. Yeah, it sure was. Yes, and then Rachel told the news to her father. And then when Laban saw that, he went to meet Jacob. And Jacob told Laban about his trip and about how his family was and how it went. And Genesis 29:14 says, "And Laban said unto him, Surely thou art my bone and my flesh. And he abode with him the space of a month." So Jacob had been for a month with Laban, but he wasn't just idle and not doing anything, but he was working and helping out with Laban's flock and stuff. And after a month of working, Laban said unto him, "Just because we are family, will you work for me for nothing?" And then he said, "Tell me what you want me to pay you." So Jacob answered Laban and said, "I will serve you 7 years for your younger daughter Rachel." So he loved Rachel and wanted to marry her. And so instead of paying money for the dowry, he would work 7 years for the wife. A dowry is when a man wanted to get married, he gave something to the father of the bride. It could be some money, just in case, something happens during the marriage, to ensure that the wife will have something to live by in case something happens. So in Genesis 29 verse 20, it says, "And Jacob served 7 years for Rachel, and they seemed unto him but a few days for the love he had unto her." He worked for 7 years and asked Laban for Rachel. And Laban made him a wedding feast. And then when the night came and the bride came to Jacob, he wasn't able to see her in the dark. But who he actually married, well, he found out in the morning, and Laban had given him Leah instead of Rachel. Jacob was tricked by Laban, but then he must have remembered he also tricked his father. When Jacob went to Laban to complain about the situation, well, Laban said, "In our country, we have to give the older daughter first before the younger to marriage." But most likely that wasn't true, because then he would have said before. Well, in Genesis 29:27, it says, fulfill her week, and we will give thee this also for the service which thou shalt serve with me yet 7 other years.
So Jacob had to work 7 other years to get Rachel. So then Jacob worked 7 years and was given Rachel also. And he loved Rachel more than Leah.
So it must have been hard for Leah.
It definitely was hard for Leah because what God instituted is better than what man invents. God made a one man and one woman.
And that's how marriage is supposed to be. One man and one woman.
Genesis chapter 1 verse 27 says, So God created man in his own image. In the image of God created he him, male and female created he them.
So he made Adam and Eve only.
So that's an example on how people can mess up, and
God, of course, can take all our mistakes and turn them around to fulfill his plan.
But it will be better for us to follow his word from the start and save ourselves from a lot of headaches. So, well, that's the end of this Bible lesson. Bye.
Bye.